Hello guys, welcome to a new video. Monolith's Japanese Twitter account has been silent for weeks, and while we look forward to any news, what we already know will have to suffice. Don't forget to like or dislike the video so I know if you are enjoying the content. Share and subscribe if you want to help me out, and leave a comment with your own hopes and predictions for Xenoblade 3. There are a lot of cool things to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time. All the environments we have seen seem to suggest that the Titans no longer exist, and the regions seem to be connected by land, not by an endless sea or a sea of clouds. So it's not much of a stretch to say that this game can be a totally seamless open world, like in Xenoblade X, rather than the areas closed by loading zones in Xenoblade and the Titan regions of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If that's really the case, I will be very happy, as the only thing I wanted from X that wasn't really there is the massive landmarks that made the biomes and mechanics so amazing to explore. There's nothing like getting to Colony 6 and being able to see Colony 9 so tiny in the distance. We already know about the enemy camps, and it seems like they weren't being lied when they said that Ionios was separated between two nations, because we see massive mechs called Iron Giants serving as mobile camps in order to patrol the massive lands of this world. I believe we will run into these camps in the field and end up in bombastic fights against these machines. I also believe that just like in X, they will make incredible use of verticality, since climbing the sword of the Mechonis and the body of the Orion Titan would be simply too amazing not to happen. If they really make use of all this verticality I was talking about, then we would get new ways to travel the world. Yeah, the scales of X could easily take us anywhere, but in the trailer we see the presence of a boat, which leads me to believe that, for the third time, we will have another Xeno game without a playable mech, and instead we will have vehicles for water, land and air travel. But I don't think that Monolith wants to tie our ability to explore to the presence of vehicles, which is why I think they will bring back the sprint of X for faster ground trips, and climbing, as in Breath of the Wild, without the dreaded stamina wheel, and my most anticipated stuff, diving below the water as we see Mio doing in the trailer. It seemed to me that they really had the desire to add underwater exploration in Xenoblade 2, but failed because of the team size and the lack of time, which turned it into the salvaging points. I have already talked about field skills in the last video, but it's very likely that they will be back to gate off some areas as well. It seems that the item spheres of the original and X are back. It makes sense because it would be impossible to collect items like in 2 in vehicles. If that's really the case, we can expect some kind of way to correct the randomness aspect that we don't like. The way it could be done is guaranteeing that each orb is always the same item, give us several items for each orb, and maybe even more as we have better field skills. There is also the possibility that the trailer has simply shown the game without UI elements, and instead will be more like choose collectibles. If that's the case, simply allowing us to skip the cutscenes for field skills and make it work without stopping our movement would be enough to make the best collection system ever. As I said before, I would be really happy to have another seamless open world in the series, but if there is one thing that would blow my mind away, is to see creatures the size of titans wandering the fields with cities and buildings on their backs. I believe it's very possible to achieve, since Monolith has worked very hard at adding these massive moving things to worlds for a long time, like the Divine Beasts on Breath of the Wild and some of the huge ships and mechs we see in Xenoblade X. Although we haven't really been able to interact much with massive moving things in the main series, those titans are the biggest moving things Monolith has ever put in games. Now being completely unreasonable, I want to be able to pilot the Iron Giant, and maybe even Titans. This would be completely out of this world, but definitely pretty cool, even if only for a few small set pieces and special story moments, like being able to use an art to beat another Titan, like Bionis/X on the Egil fight. Since this is a very unrealistic thing, something I would like to see is using monsters as mounts and maybe even engaging in combat with them. I really hope that the little lights we saw in the trailer are just a placeholder for individually modeled collectibles. As in Breath of the Wild, imagine being able to grab an apple directly from a tree. The characters react to everything you find on the fly, and then adding them to a collectopedia where you would get flavor text for the item, where you find it, and where you can find more, and then rotate the model to see details. This would solve many problems with the late game grinding. By simply loading in and out of an area, you would be able to get everything you want much faster. Thanks for joining me for another short video today, and I hope you guys have an awesome week. The main reason why I make these videos is to feel more productive and find more people to talk about the games I enjoy. So leave a comment and I will try to read and reply to all of you. See you guys next week. Goodbye.